I am alone in this foreign country. There are not many people like me on the road. Cars were passing by, and I was thinking it must be very warm inside the car. There's nobody to ask for directions. I always put my faith in people to help find the way. It turns out that's only true in China.
Hi, guys. That was fantastic. I have with me now Jenny Shi. For those of you guys who forgot, I'm easy to forget. I'm Tommy from the Asia Film Festival. I do not blame you. We're going to work through a handful of questions I prepared and talk about this painful, beautifully shot, excellently edited film together. I'm going to do my best not to cry, though I failed during the course of the film. Jenny, welcome to the Q&A. That was excellent. Thank you so much for bringing that story to us. I remember that in the news, and this is just I don't think it could have been done better. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Tommy. Yeah.
First, before we get started, a couple of things. We noticed that you just won the Women at Sundance Adobe Fellowship really recently. That's a big deal. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What was that like? Were you excited when you won that? I assume.
Yes. For me, I was really, I feel really humbled and feel really lucky to be included. Just look at, other filmmakers who's being awarded, this fellowship. And for me, as a first-time filmmaker and a female filmmaker of color, I really appreciate the support from institutes like Sundance. And I know they are always behind a lot of documentaries or filmmakers with diverse background. And actually, Finding Yingying was supported through part of Sundance program. So it was supported by its creative producing lab. So for me, I just feel really grateful because like what you said, it was a very difficult story to tell. And I mean, I just feel so grateful that so many people believe in the story and really support me along the way.
And do you have any plans for your winnings, as it were? Next film, more work on this film?
Yeah, for me, I mean, this film right now it's in the festival run. Unfortunately, the world premiere got canceled, but we are happy that in this new environment and situation, especially in this October, we have a lot of festivals coming up, and finally we can share Ying's story and her family stories with the audience around the world. And that's our ultimate goal for the film. And we really want people to memorize Ying and to remember her, how amazing she was, how talented she was. And we are just very happy to seeing it happen right now. And for myself, specifically, I'm always interested in current affairs and also interested in things happen in my community. So I'm also focusing I'm exploring some topics about Chinese American or Chinese in the US. And also I'm interested in women's rights in China. So this is basically what I've been doing. But the Funny Ying, we will keep pushing it and to let more people to watch it.
Absolutely. Well, that's what Asian Film Festival does. Is we're bringing stories like yours over to America. We didn't do this one, obviously, but that's why I'm here to help out. So, first, real question from me: do you have any updates to the story? Frequently, there's a little bit of time passes before the film hits theaters or from its audience eyes. Has anything else interesting happened since you guys wrapped the editing?
Yeah, I think the last piece of information is actually the federal judge denied the case, and that's it. I think the family filed another case through the state judge, but it was also denied. So for the family, that's the end. But in terms of the family themselves, I would say like the brother, he is having his own family and he had a baby. So
Oh,
that's
that's great.
yeah, that I feel like that might be something like hopeful, in the
Yeah.
family. And also the mom, she always want to have, I mean, to take care of her own grandchild, and now here's the chance. So I really hope, things can gradually work out. We can't guarantee, but maybe that's something for them to put their hope on. But I still, talk to the family, and like the father, Ying's father, he still, talk to me and saying that if there's any update on the search. But apparently there's no updates on the search. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
basically where we are.
Now I have the genuine joy of getting to teach film as my day job. I teach it to high school students. It's a lot of fun. I'm always telling them they always want to keep working and keep working and keep working past the deadline for the films that they have to do for my class. But I always tell them, the old adage that a film is never done, you just stop working on it. At what point did you decide to stop working on it? Have you stopped working on it? Are you going to add points like you just made to the titles there at the end? Or what's going on there?
Yeah, for me, because like the film title right now is Finding Yingying, and there are two layers of the meanings. One is to really, follow the family's journey to see if they can ultimately, find Yingying and bring her back. The other layer is really about who Yingying was. So throughout the film, we get to know more about Yingying, and if we want to talk, I mean, if we want to talk about the full picture of the case, there are different talking points. There are something going on with University of Illinois, who, the family feel like they should be held accountable on what's going on with the counseling center. But we didn't talk too much in the film. And we only like showed some text card at the end because we really want to focus on Yingying. So even though these like financial or other, issues is part of the story, but we don't want the audience to be distracted by those other issues that we don't feel like that's the focus. So for me, like I totally agree with you that you can keep following a story until, I mean, the moment you decided that's the end.
Especially documentaries. They could go on for
Yes.
years and years and years and years and years. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Yes. And I think for Finding Yingying, like what we have right now basically document their journey, a very chaos and difficult, heartbreaking journey in the past 3 years. And I hope this is something that the family, they can keep it, and also somehow, because I think we include a lot of Ying's diary in the film, and we try to bring her into life. So our purpose is also to preserve Ying's legacy. So I hope it can, serve that purpose. So for the family, there's something about that journey and something about Yingying. So that's how I decided, okay, this is the end of the film. But for the family themselves, we know that the impact of a film doesn't really end after the festival, like the screening. So we still plan to do impact campaign. So when things I won't say like get normal, because I don't really know like what normal can looks
What's
like.
normal anymore? Who knows?
Yeah. So we are still trying to continue to bring this film into universities, especially to those universities
That's a
that
great idea.
have
That's
a
a great
lot
idea.
of like international students. So really have a conversation about like who we are, and to I would say like bring together American students and international students, and to really solve the problems that have on campus right now. And for the family, that's also a conversation they wanted to have with University of Illinois. So hopefully maybe next year, when the travel ban between China and the US ends, we can bring the family to U of I again, and to have a genuine conversation with the university. So that's what we are going to work on. Yeah.
That's excellent. Well, if you ever need any help with UT Dallas, it's right across the street. Find me. I'll help you get your movie over there. I know the film teachers over there. Shouldn't be a problem. We will make that happen. We have tons of international students here, and it's a real boon to the area. So speaking of the diary, you seem to have used it as a backbone or a framing device. It works exceptionally well. At what point did you inject that into the process? Was that the plan from the beginning? Were you already in the editing process and thinking like, oh, this would be a great like thread through the whole film? Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I think it actually happened halfway. So, the first time we learned that there was a diary was like two months after Ying's disappeared. It was actually in the film. So there's a
Yeah.
scene of the press conference. Ying's boyfriend actually read the last line of her last piece of diary. So that was the first time we learned that she actually kept diary before she went missing. But at that moment, we didn't really think about we are going to use the diary entries, because for us and also for the family, we both feel like diary is something really like private, personal thing.
Right.
And if we were not clear about what exactly we are going to do with the diary, I just feel like it's inappropriate to just take someone's personal stuff.
Oh, I completely
So
agree. Yeah.
we just put that in our mind, and we kept following Ying's family and their story. So it was actually in 2018, so a year after she disappeared, I went back to China to spend some time with Ying's family. And at that time I learned more about who Ying was, and I was able to see her bedroom, the books she read, and you know her personal belongings, things like that. And we also learned that she actually had a habit, just keep diary. So she had diaries in China, all things like that. And we also got access to her, I would say, like home videos. So she hang out with friends, things like that. And at that moment, I just feel like there are enough materials to use those firsthand, material of Yingying to tell a story about her. So at the very beginning, we thought it's going to be an investigation piece. But later on, we feel like there are so many coverage on the investigation and on the perpetrator. We don't need that anymore. And the story of Yingying, story of the Ying's family, is barely heard at the time. So we just feel like maybe make a film about her and her family would be more meaningful, and that would really help the family. So I think, yeah, in the summer of 2018, I asked the boyfriend to see, if there's some possibility that we can use part of the diary. He was hesitate at the very beginning for the same reason.
Sure.
But we
I'm sure there's some
explained,
stuff about him in there. So,
yeah. So we explained to him, and then he said, okay, maybe just use I will give you the diary she kept in the US, because that was only like 6 weeks. She didn't keep diary like every day. So just several entries. So we have that. And I think that that was in the late process of editing. We feel like we still need more diaries. Otherwise, you can't really keep her alive throughout the entire film. So I talked to Ying's boyfriend again to basically tell him, why we are doing this, what we are hoping to, put together. So we did ask, if there's anything. She talked about her parents, talk about the brother, talk about the relationship between the boyfriend and Yingying. So we didn't, get the diary directly. It was a boyfriend. He chose some diary entries that he felt like is okay to share it with us, and the family, they were also okay with that. And then we got the diary entries, and we just place them organically in different places in the film.
Well, it works very, very well as a framing device, and you guys are really lucky you got that, and your persistence certainly paid off in that situation, because they work very well. You guys, that's great. It's really great. Now it's almost like you knew what my next question was going to be. You have like mountains of video and audio, and you have video from inside the counseling center. You've got stuff that I'm just like, how did she get that? So seriously, how did you guys get some of those? Were any of those really hard fought? Like you just told us about the diary and kind of explained how you guys got that. How did you get some of these other video things that should probably be, that presumably would are like locked away in some FBI department vault somewhere? How'd you guys get a handle on all that stuff?
Yeah, actually, in terms of the the crime part, because this is a very high profile case in China and also in the US, the court actually they publish the materials online. So there, so it I think the situation was quite different from like Ying's personal materials. So all these court exhibits, legal documents, they were published on the website of the court. So that was access, everyone has access to that. But for us, the biggest challenge is really to sort out like what you want to put in the film, because sometimes when you face too much materials and you feel like something might be fascinating to certain audience, but it doesn't really work for the story itself. So we actually had a hard time to really balance how much crime we want to tell with
Right.
the rich materials we have, and how much of Ying's story and her family story we want to tell. So I think we have different cuts. Like in the very very early stage rough cut, we have tons of, not tons of, but much more than what we have right now.
Oh, of course. Of course.
Yes,
Yeah.
so we have more recordings, but in our working progress screening, we realized that, I mean, the audience give us really great feedback. They feel like they are watching two kinds of film. One is true crime film. One is a family story, right? So basically they feel like they are jumping one to another
Right.
in 2 hours, things like that. And we just ask ourselves, what exactly takeaway we want the audience
Right.
have after they watch the film. And we really want them to think about it. It is a story about a talented young woman and how much her life has
Right.
touched others. So at the end of the day, we basically cut a lot of crime and still keep the basic facts of the crime, because that helps the audience to understand the whole story and the case. And even for the recordings, things like that, we include in the film. It was all about how hard Ying fought back. So it's not really
Right.
highlight the perpetrator. It's still about Ying.
Well, let me ask one more question before we're done here today. This is a kind of hard question, so if you don't want to answer it, it's okay. Does it ever occur to you and your team that this guy is eventually going to watch your film and he's probably going to think this documentary is for me? Um, how do you guys? What do you guys? Does that ever cross your guys' mind?
I think we didn't think about whether he would, see the film, but I think we've already tried our best to make sure that this film is really about Ying. And for like I explained, even for the part we put him in the film, it's just supporting, Yingying's personality. We really want to show like how, how hard she fought for her life, things like that. So, and I feel like, if you cried during the film for Yingying and her family, which means, basically the film is what the story we want to tell is successful. So we try to limit
Absolutely.
his appearance in the film. So
Absolutely.
yeah, we tried our best, I would say.
Yeah. The so that's all we have time for today. Ginny Shi, thank you so much for your film. It is excellent. You did such a great job with it. You should be very, very proud of yourself and your team.
Thank
I
you.
assume you are. Um, thank you so much for joining us. Let's see. The rest of you guys should stick around. There's a lot more to be happening, or a lot more happening at the festival this weekend. Check out the website, check out all the other films. Later on this evening, Asian Film Festival is co-presenting another film at the drive-in down at Cedar Springs. And Coronation, learning about how a documentary on how the Chinese government handled the coronavirus and what we might learn from that. So could be interesting and fun. Seeing a documentary to drive in was the last time you did that. So could be fun, guys. Thank you to everyone involved, all of the sponsors, the festival. Jenny, of course. Thanks, everybody. Goodbye.